What very few people know about this channel is that I made it the day I got out of the hospital 2 years ago, Monday, September 11th, 2023. There's no point boring you with the details or going into depth about what exactly I had, because what truly matters is that a certain perception of myself was shattered as a result of this incident. Being a 20-year-old young guy in the middle of university who had just started feeling pretty good about himself, both socially and physically, this out-of-nowhere near-death experience really altered my perspective on things and destroyed any false notion of invincibility. For the longest time, I've always had these ideas, these thoughts and impressions that I've wanted to share with people, with anyone. For me, The Lord of the Rings and fantasy in general had been a source of pure escapism since my school days, but obviously it was difficult to find other people personally that would be interested in what I had to say. And so this idea of creating a channel to discuss these thoughts with like-minded individuals was always in the back of my mind, but for the longest time I didn't really have the confidence or perhaps the courage to just get on with it. And so when I did get out of the hospital on that Monday about 2 years ago, the only thought that I had was, what if that was that? I mean, I know I'm only 20 and societal expectations aren't insanely high, but what about my own expectations? If that had been it, and I could somehow retroactively evaluate my years, would I be happy with what I had done? And most importantly, would I have been content with the things that I hadn't done? Now, obviously, this channel is pretty much nothing in the grand scheme of things. I'm proud and happy to see how far it's gotten, and incredibly grateful to you watching. But greater people than me have achieved greater things than a YouTube channel, and that's fine. Life isn't a race. The difference is that this is something that I wanted to do, and which I did, and it's among a number of things that I would never have otherwise pursued. I guess where I'm going with this is that a large factor in my change of mentality was a line written by Tolkien in The Return of the King. It is that line that I was thinking of 2 years ago, and it is that line that I have continuously thought of ever since in other times of difficulty, even recently with an experience of cancer. Throughout The Lord of the Rings, Tolkien has shared wisdom on numerous things. Life and death, good and evil, all important, but this one is what made me fall deeper in love with The Lord of the Rings, and I feel like it had a tangible effect on me as a person. Darkness is about to consume the world. Minas Tirith stands on the brink of annihilation, and the age of men is about to end before it's even had the chance to begin. Hope seems all but lost, and yet a light remains on the horizon. The host of Rohan slowly moves into the fields of Gondor, and the very first thing it encounters as it approaches Minas Tirith is shadow, fire, and death. Everything seems lost, and the old King Theoden, who we have witnessed be renewed and remade into the mighty king he once was, seems to falter. It's as if he will go back, he will retreat, cower, he will not do what must be done. Perhaps he can't do what must be done. In the face of evil, of insurmountable odds, the king seems weak.
The king sat upon Snowmane, motionless, gazing upon the agony of Minas Tirith, as if stricken suddenly by anguish or by dread. He seemed to shrink down, cowed by age. Merry himself felt as if a great weight of horror and doubt had settled on him. His heart beat slowly. Time seemed poised in uncertainty. They were too late. Too late was worse than never.
Too late was worse than never. With such few words, Tolkien is able to convey so much emotion and desperation. Too late to save Minas Tirith, the world itself, despite all that our characters had been through. Too late to defeat evil and do what is right. Life came with its responsibilities, its darkness and its evil, and Theoden was too late to do anything about it. Life is fleeing. What will he do about it?
Then suddenly Merry felt it at last, beyond doubt, a change. Wind was in his face. Light was glimmering. Far, far away in the south the clouds could be dimly seen as remote grey shapes rolling up, drifting. Morning lay beyond them. But at that same moment there was a flash, as if lightning had sprung from the earth beneath the city. For a searing second it stood dazzling far off in black and white, its topmost tower like a glittering needle. And then as the darkness closed again, there came rolling over the fields a great boom.
It is never too late, regardless of how it may seem. The Rohirrim could have cowered. They could have fled to live a few more days and months in desperation until Sauron came after them next. They could have surrendered and lived. And yet, even if it is too late, it can never truly be too late to fight evil or to do what you think is right. Because otherwise, this life that came after you with its responsibilities and its darkness was too much for you. Life can never be too much. It is yours to command, to try at least, because it's what we've got. To make light out of darkness is the only solution to find your way through. Because ultimately, though there is darkness to be sure, there is light also. One does not exist without the other. We can't even conceptualize it.
At that sound, the bent shape of the king sprang suddenly erect. Tall and proud he seemed again, and rising in his stirrups, he cried in a loud voice more clear than any there had ever heard a mortal man achieve before, "Arise, arise, riders of Theoden! Fell deeds awake, fire and slaughter! Spear shall be shaken, shield be splintered, sword day, red day, ere the sun rises! Ride now, ride to Gondor!" With that he seized a great horn from Gudlach, his banner-bearer, and he blew such a blast upon it that it burst asunder. And straightway all the horns in the host were lifted up in music, and the blowing of the horns of Rohan in that hour was like a storm upon the plain, and a thunder in the mountains. Ride now, ride to Gondor! Suddenly the king cried to Snowmane, and the horse sprang away. Behind him his banner blew in the wind, white horse upon a field of green, but he outpaced it. After him thundered the knights of his house, but he was ever before them. Elmer rode there, the white horse tail on his helm, floating his speed. On the front of the first Eorred roared like a breaker foaming to the shore, but Theoden could not be overtaken. Fey he seemed, or the battle fury of his fathers ran like new fire in his veins. And he was borne up on Snowmane like a god of old, even as Orome the Great in the battle of the Valar when the world was young. His golden shield was uncovered, and lo, it shone like an image of the sun, and the grass flamed into green above the white feet of his steed. For morning came, morning in a wind from the sea, and darkness was removed, and the hosts of Mordor wailed, and the terror overtook them, and they fled and died, and the hoofs of wrath rode over them. And then all the host of Rohan burst into song, and they sang as they slew, for the joy of battle was on them, and the sound of their singing that was fair and terrible came even to the city.
Though Theoden had suddenly felt the weight of the world on his shoulders, though the easiest thing to do was to leave and never look back, he instead chose to be brave and determined, to achieve the goal he set out to do. In short, he became master of his own fate, a fate worthy of him. And although the vast majority of us, myself included, will never feel the duty he felt, nor the weight on his shoulders in those legendary hours, what we will feel is the sting of our own lives. The death of loved ones, our own illnesses and the prospect of our deaths, days upon days wasted, friends ignored and gradually lost, parents we didn't pay enough attention to. Too late is worse than never, because if you never care to approach your loved ones or to pursue your dreams, you will never feel the sting of losing them. You will feel them, however, once you realize your mistake far too late. You didn't say good morning that one day. You didn't say I love you. You came to anger too quickly. You didn't ask out the person you're in love with. You didn't seize your life or make the changes you wanted to make deep down. Like Theoden, you almost left the fields of Gondor. But like Theoden still, you don't have to actually do it. You can find your strength and do what must be done for your own self, and take a charge at evil affecting you. I obviously don't have any right to philosophize to you about your life and your struggles. These are things that, for better or for worse, I feel in my own life, and this quote is one of the tangible ways that The Lord of the Rings has affected me as a person. And I guess I really wanted to share it with others, and so I did. It might only get 500 views, but those are 500 different individuals that I will cherish forever. A massive thank you to my channel members, and thank you very much for watching.